These are good for ADHD. I mean, these subjects are all over the place. Okay, Kufay and Aleph. Base, right? Sif base. Also, Lish Lahaver Seir Beis Hashechi. This is actually a very hot button topic. Get this question multiple times a week. Right? It's also for a man to remove the hair of his underarms and the base hair or the pubic hair, even with scissors, like a razor. Meaning for sure not a razor, but even a shaver, even an electric shaver, a manscaper as they call it. Which means that you're shaving it down close to the basar, but to trim it's no problem. The reason is because women do this. And it's also to scratch the hair there, meaning to get it off. When you do it through your clothing, then it's mutter. Because that's not the way a woman would do it. Let's say somebody has sores and stuff like that, and the hair is causing it to get irritated, so then and then you can remove it. The question is that nowadays, it's since many men do it, so therefore it might be mutter, and probably is mutter b'zman hazeh. Okay, Gimel. It's also for a man to remove one hair from amongst other black hairs. That's a women do. Meaning it's also because a man was dressing like a woman. You're not allowed to dye the hair that it should look black. Again, I'm not sure nowadays if this whole thing would be also because lots and lots of men dye their hair. Now, we do use goyim for this. There happens to be an interesting truth from Igros Moshe. He says that if you need it for employment, and if they see you with white hair, they're not going to employ you, then you're allowed to dye your hair, because that's considered a good reason. However, it's only if you'll be able to do the same job as somebody younger. But if you won't be able to, then Rav Moshe says it's awesome. It's also for a man to look in a mirror, because that's what women do. But if he's doing it because of health, or he's giving himself a haircut, or to remove stains on his face, meaning he needs to clean his face, or he has to take out feathers from his head, meaning or any dirt that gets stuck in his head, it's mutter. See, if it's a makom, that's the derech, that men look in the mirror, then it's mutter. So nowadays it's mutter because men look in the mirror. Okay,
tefillin. So looking at your tefillin, he doesn't have that heter.
No, he doesn't. But in the tefillin, you're not looking at yourself. You're only looking at the tefillin. Don't you know that? Fine. Now, totally changing gears. Simon Kufay Beis Hilchas Chodosh, right? So, what is Chodosh? Aleph Ksiv Elechem v'Kolev v'Karmel Seichel Eretz Hamiyam. You shouldn't eat bread, roasted kernels, and caramel is like fat kernels until Etz Hamiyam until the middle of that day. What does this mean? Pirish Asurun Lechem Mitvu Chadosha Mechameshes Aminin. From the 5 grains, you're not allowed to eat from the new grain, from the new crop. Until the carbon Omer is brought, also Nisan, it's brought on the 16th day of Nisan. When there's no Omer, the entire day is also.
Why are Hasidim not into this?
But we'll get to it. That they make 2 days Yom Tov because of a suffix gam kol yom yudzayin asura, then the whole 17th is asura atchilas yal yudches until the 18th. If it's planted and it grows, and if it gets planted and it takes root, before the 16th day of Nisan, then that Omer is matur, and Materas miyad lachar ksiras, and it's mutter immediately after it's cut down. But if it doesn't take root for the 16th day of Nisan, asura ad sheyaveh Omer haba, it's asur until the next year's Omer. Fine. According to most poskim, this is also asur in chutz la'aretz from the Torah. All right, but it's clearly a machlokes. You have to be very careful. Sometimes you have plants, grain that's grown, that's planted after Pesach, or it's planted before Pesach, but it was not planted with enough time to take root. Like barley, shual, and oats, in some places even wheat. Shem Asuran ad lachu Yud Zayin Nisan Haba, that are also until the 17th of the next year. Let's say it took root on the actual 16th day, then it's mutter because of Memarashach, right? Meaning if it goes to the past year, so then it's already fine, right? Because it's already past Pesach, right? And we go with Yud Zayin and Chutz La'aretz. Gam ha'sheicher and beer shanas mituzu aser. Beer that's made from this tool is aser ad lacher Pesach haba until the next Pesach. V'chein ha'shmorim asura. Shmorim, like the dregs, right? Which really means yeast. Chimtzu behem isa. And let's say you take isa and you make it into chametz, meaning you use dough. Meaning you use a starter, let's say. Even if that's the starter comes from old food. Then the entire isa is also because of the yeast. Because it's not bottle, because it's chashuv. And you have grain that's a suffix, whether it's old or new. So you have to ask a shaila whether you could be makel or not. All right. Fine. Now we get to why is it that people don't keep it. From the Kitzur, it sounds like you got to keep it. For those that say that there's no Isser Chodesh only with grain that grew in a Yid's property. If it grew in a Goy's property, which is most of our grains, in the United States at least, then it's okay. But even if the field is owned by the Goy, but Yisrael rented it, yesh betuzu Isser Chodesh, that then it does have Isser Chodesh. But if it grew in the Goy's Rishus, ain't by Isser Chodesh, it does not have an Isser Chodesh. This is the Bach. This is one of the Terim of the Bach. And that's what many rely on. B'shas hadchak. If the tool grew in a land in the Yisrael's land, there's no heter at all. Many disagree, and they say that even by a guy, there's an Isser Chodesh. Machmer Tovei LaBracha, and those that are Machmer should get a bracha. Right? Now, so that's the heter. The heter is basically the Bach. The heter is the Bach that it doesn't apply to the guy's land. Right now, so Naftali Lando asked, what are Chassidim being Simon? So there's this wild Baal Shem Tov, who said that before the Bach came up with his heter, all the people in Chutz La'aretz who were being makel were in Gehenna. Then when the Bach said that it doesn't apply to land that owned by a guy, so they pulled everybody out of Gehenna. So if you're going to decide to be machmer, not like the Bach, everybody's going to go back into Gehenna. Right? So therefore, the Hasidim are very stark that you don't have to keep. You don't have to keep. All right. I mean, at least that's what they say. Okay, one more. Siman Kufay Gimel Hilchos Arla. So Arla is the first 3 years. Call 8 Machal, Ben Shel Yisrael, Ben Shel Akam. Any fruit tree, whether it's owned by a Yid or a Goy, even if it grows in a pot that has no hole in it, right, which means it's not getting anything from the ground, it still has Arla. Gimel Shanim Arishonim, and the first 3 years from his planting, Paperos Vagarinin Vaklipas, the fruits, seeds, Klipas is the, what do you call it? Peels, Hakol Asabana, everything is Asabana. But Gimel Shanim Elu, Ein Mainim Yom Liyam. In these 3 years, you don't count it from day to day. Elam not the Kodim to Zayin Ba'ov, if it gets planted before the 16th of Av. Kivich Yesh Mem Dalit Yom Ad Rosh Hashanah, since from then to Rosh Hashanah is 44 days. Nechshav Leishana, that's considered a year. Shem the Yud Dalit Yom Hema Yemei Klita, because those 14 days are the days where it's going to take root. And after that, 30 days in a year is considered a year. And then you count 2 more years from Tishrei. So that makes a total of 3 years for Arla. But if it was planted from the 16th of Av and later, then that year is considered nothing. And you count Tishrei for 3 years. So you have to count the full 3 years. These are not really negaya as far as I know, bismanazeh, because things don't grow. They don't really grow fruit anymore. Okay, we will stop over there. And everybody should have a fine night.